Hello, everybody. It is me. It is Tuesday night, and I don't have time for a whiteboard video tonight, guys. I got to be honest with you. There's not going to be a whiteboard tonight. I just got in like 15 minutes ago. I was out late tonight. I was actually at the card shop meeting Jacob Hollister and Michael Kendricks for an autograph signing. So that was cool, but it's late. I got stuff to do. I'm no whiteboard tonight. Sorry, guys. But that's not such a bad thing today, I think, because I think we need to place a little more importance on the team right now, not the team next year, not the team this offseason, not the team in the playoffs, but we need to focus on where this team is right now because on Sunday night we saw something from this Seahawks team that we have not seen all year. In my opinion, we didn't see it last year, and I don't think we've seen it until late 2 years ago. Almost 2 full calendar years. The Seattle Seahawks on Sunday night looked like one of two things. They either looked like a team that didn't bother showing up, or they looked like a team that is just bad. A team that doesn't have good enough players and good enough schemes to compete with a decent Rams team. It's one of the two. And you can't say that about any other Seahawks game over the last 2 years, in my opinion. We've lost. We've made mistakes. We've made bad plays. We've done stupid things. We've maybe even been decisively beaten, but I think that was the first time the Seahawks have been non-competitive, uncompetitive in a game since week 15 against the Rams 2 years ago. So it's a new look for our team this year. Like that loss on Sunday night, I don't know if y'all agree with me or not, but the loss on Sunday night felt very different from the Ravens game and the Saints game. In those games, we held our own for good chunks of those games. We just did some stupid stuff and let the game get away from us. Against the Saints, we let it get away early. Against the Ravens, we let it get away from us late. But I didn't get the sense that the team just slept walked. I got the sense that the team was doing stupid stuff, that they were making mistakes. But last night was something else. I mean, 2 nights ago was something different. And it's worth talking about because we can obviously deal with a team that just has bad games every now and then. Everybody has a bad game, but we can't deal with a team that is actually bad. And for the first time this year, the Seahawks actually looked kind of bad on Sunday night. I'm not saying they're a bad team, but if you watched that game for 60 minutes, you would come away thinking, yeah, the Seahawks are a bad team. I don't think you would say that coming off watching the Ravens game or the Saints game. I think you would just come away saying, hey, that team did stupid shit and let the game get away from them. So I'm going to come at it from both sides because we need to decide, did this team just have a bad game or are they just bad now? So there was a lot of stuff working against us on Sunday night, and I'm going to go ahead and go over it because this stuff can't be discounted. Number one, it was a road game. And I know the Seahawks have been road warriors so far this year. I get that. Very good chance we end up going 7-1 at home. But I think we all know that in a vacuum, we would prefer to play a game at home rather than on the road. So you're going on the road, you're almost always going to be a disadvantage. That's not nothing. Number two, and this one I kind of forgot about this one because I don't totally want to believe it myself, but it is a fact. We suck on natural grass. This goes back a long ways. We have not been good in games where we have to play on natural grass. Like Green Bay, we've been bad. Um, God, who else was it? Who else was it? There have been some other teams. Even like the field in San Francisco, it seems like it zaps us a little bit. I know we got that win earlier this year. Um, yeah, it just seems like we don't play very well on grass. And people smarter than me have done studies on this that have proven that ever since Pete Carroll got here, team just doesn't play well on those fields. And I don't like it. I mean, I'm rooting for a team that can't play in bad weather and can't play on grass. That sucks. But we never have to play in that Coliseum again, so at least we have that going for us, right? But yeah, that probably had something to do with that. Third, Rams were desperate. The Rams had to win to keep their hopes alive. They had to win to keep us from clinching a playoff spot because very good chance the Rams are going to be trying to take our playoff spot from us. I know maybe the Vikings are a little more likely, but they're also thinking about our spot as well. And that we had already beaten them once this year. They were probably pissed off about that. They just had to win. They had to come at us with everything they had. And, they did. They played a really good game. I think that's fair to say. Also, we were coming off the short week, and I generally don't make a big deal out of this, but I'm not going to pretend it's non existent. We played on Monday night, and then we go to Sunday night. It's not an easy turnaround. We didn't practice very much this week, and it did kind of show out there. So I get that. And number five, and this one is kind of ominous for the future. Sean McVay just has Pete Carroll's number. I don't know what the hell it is, but our defense rarely looks incompetent against most teams. But 4 games in a row now, maybe 5 games in a row, depending on how you feel about the 42-7 game, Sean McVay's offense has destroyed Pete Carroll's defense. So Pete doesn't know whether he's coming or going against Sean McVay, and maybe you can lump Ken Norton in there as well. But Carroll just can't keep up with McVay's shit. I don't know how else to put it. And fortunately, it seems unlikely that we're going to have to actually play against Sean McVay in the playoffs. So that's something we can address next year or the year after or whenever. Whenever the hell we decide to figure out how to stop a team that uses a lot of motion pre-snap. So there was a lot going against us in that Rams game that I didn't totally give us credit for before the game started. So, okay. It's a little understandable why the team might no-show. There was a lot. And to top it all off, Monday night we played a tough game. That game against the Vikings, we had to fight for that one. It came down to the last minute. We had to stave off the comeback. We had to come up with some plays at the very end. So maybe I should have expected the team to come out flat. I didn't, because it just doesn't happen very often with this Seahawks team. But it looked like they had come out flat. Now, as for the other side of things, because we can't discount anything until we see a few more games, I'm looking at this team, this Seahawks team as it is right now, and my sense is we cannot withstand another dent. This Seahawks team is a Jenga tower, and we've already had a bunch of logs pulled out. We can't have another one get pulled out, or else I think we're going to fall over, and we're going to end this season poorly. So what I saw on Sunday night, and what I've seen even over the past few weeks, let's say, I think things are starting to catch up to us in terms of players we've lost, and we just don't have the depth to maintain. I'm mainly talking about the offense, but you can even throw the defense in there as well. So it seems to me that the key over the next 3 weeks, obviously we want to win those 3 games because that'll guarantee us the number 2 seed, I think, and a first round bye and the division title. But I think about equally as important is that we don't have another injury of any significance, because I don't think we can withstand another one. We are a piece of fine china. It's pretty, it's beautiful, it's great, you love it. But if somebody taps us, we're going to shatter. That's kind of where I'm at with especially this offense right now. Look, we're already pushing our luck, right? Our tight ends right now, think about who our tight ends are right now. We have a dude who couldn't make the practice squad on the Patriots, who we got for a 7th rounder. We have a dude who was on the couch until week 7. Nobody wanted him. And we have a dude who isn't even a tight end. He's a right tackle. And he plays tight end, and it's funny, but he's not a tight end. Even at receiver, our number 2 receiver is a rookie. Our number 3 receiver was a dude who everybody passed over in waivers, just about. Like 25, 26, 27 teams passed in waivers, and the Seahawks finally picked him up. It's already thin. I mean, we have a running back who, I like Carson. A lot of people like Carson, but he can't hold on to the ball. We have a backup running back now who's who's basically a wide receiver who's playing running back to as an experiment almost. So it's already getting thin on offense, and we have definitely noticed the effects of those losses because look, losing Will Dissly by itself is not a huge deal. Losing Justin Britt by himself is not a huge deal. Losing Tyler Lockett and having him at nowhere near full strength is not that huge of a deal by itself. And losing Rashad Penny for the season is not a huge deal by itself, but those four things added up, I think it has us on the brink, right? Because as it stands, we still have our MVP caliber quarterback, although he's completely fallen out of that now, obviously, unfortunate. But we still have four of our starters on the offensive line. We still have at least one tight end who seems like he's at least a pretty good pass catcher. And we have three wide receivers who we have a good deal of trust in. This is, by the way, assuming that Lockett is going to be better by the time the 49ers game comes around. Because if Lockett doesn't get better by week 17, I think you can cancel it. I think we're done. I think at that point, it'll be too much. I'm assuming that Lockett comes back. If he doesn't, forget it. But we still have enough, just barely in my opinion, to enable Russell Wilson to be the best version of himself. But the hard part is going to be we have 180 minutes left of football. Probably somewhere around 90 of those minutes are going to be offensive. We can't lose anybody else. Obviously, Wilson goes down, we're done, but that's always the case, so who cares? Can't lose Carson. Cannot. I bashed the dude like nobody else this year, but if he were to go down for even like a half, I don't know what we would do. Can't lose any of the offensive linemen. None of them can be replaced except for maybe one of the guards can be replaced by Jamarco Jones for a little bit. And the shine has fallen off of Jamarco Jones a little bit for me personally. But in my opinion, if we lose one more key piece, I think it's done. We're not beating the Niners. We're not going to win a playoff game unless the other team fucks up more than we do. But if we can survive these last three games with no key injuries on offense or even semi-key injuries on offense, I think we will find ourselves. I think we will give ourselves a chance to win against anybody. That includes the Niners, includes the Saints, includes the Packers, of course. I truly don't think the Packers are that great. But we need what we have to stay together. It is so delicate right now. Sometimes it feels like this team is held together by duct tape. It's not like what we have is great, but I believe what we have right now is good enough. Penny was not, in my opinion, an irreplaceable loss. It does mean that Carson's going to have to take on a much bigger load as the season ends and in the playoffs because I have no trust in Procise, and I can't trust Travis Homer until he actually gets an NFL carry, but I think offensively we're on our last strike. Even if somebody like Jermaine Ifedi got hurt. And Jermaine Ifedi's not a very good player, but if we lost him, I don't know what we would do. That's how bad things are right now. And you can say the same thing for the defense. So defense had a bad game against the Rams, obviously. A lot of it is that just Sean McVay destroys Pete Carroll every time they coach each other. For some reason, Carroll doesn't know what he's doing. But I think that we just barely have enough as is. Some people were saying in Facebook comments, and I really don't agree with this, they were saying that the reason why the defense sucked against the Rams was because we didn't have Michael Kendricks. And if that's true, God help us, because Michael Kendricks is not even good. And some people on Facebook seem to think he's good. I don't know where that comes from. I really don't. All I see is a terrible tackler who can't cover, and sometimes he makes nice pass rushes, But anyway, the only reason why the loss of Kendricks is such a big deal is we don't have a third cornerback who we trust at all. The fact that we decided to put Cody Barton out there over and over instead of Ugo Amadi tells me that Ugo Amadi is not ready. There's something up there. He he might be a wash his rookie year, which surprises me. But it seems like for some reason we just don't think he can play nickel cornerback this year. So we have two cornerbacks who we like because I don't believe Akeem King's that dude. I don't believe that. Well, obviously not Nico Thorpe now, but it seems like we have two cornerbacks we can trust. We do have three safeties who are pretty good, so we can survive a hit there maybe. But linebacker cannot really survive anything at linebacker, and especially with Clowney not at 100%, we absolutely need all hands on deck on that defensive line if we want to be able to assemble a pass rush. If we want to be able to rush the passer in the playoffs against good teams, we need Clowney, even if he's only at like 80%. We need Reed. We need Onza. We need Jefferson to have any hope, because some people were saying the reason why we didn't have a pass rush against the Rams was we didn't have Onza. I think that probably had something to do with it. I don't believe that Onza is good enough on his own to make that big of a difference, but obviously there was something missing, because I think we touched Goff one time that whole game. So that's my verdict after really thinking about this game for a couple days, because it was a sobering game, because for the first time in 2 years, we looked like a bad team. Maybe you can argue we kind of looked like a bad team against the Bears last year, but not as much as we did on Sunday night. And my evaluation is Lockett needs to become effective again. Onza needs to get back on the field and be as effective as he was against the Vikings and Eagles. And I think that's enough for us to be competitive in the playoffs. But we lose one more, even semi-important guy, and I think we're cooked. So that's a little bit of optimism mixed in with some pessimism. That's the best I can do, guys. I don't believe we're a bad team yet. I think that the Lockett injury is kind of the linchpin to this whole thing, or a huge piece of it. But it does not feel good knowing that we need to survive 180 minutes of football without having an injury of significance, because I truly don't believe that we'll be able to survive it. All right. Long video, kind of like my whiteboard videos, but I think we needed to have a talk about this team after what we saw against the Rams. So hope I helped. Hope I provided some context. Look, we have two games coming up. We do. We have two games coming up where we don't have to play that well to win. The Panthers are getting waxed by everybody. Cardinals, they're playing competitive in some games, but they're not winning any games. We have 2 weeks to figure it out, because we will need to play good against the 49ers, and obviously we're going to talk about that game a ton when it gets here, but hey, I don't think we're done yet. All right, go Hawks. Peace out. I got stuff to do. See y'all later.